And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Well, hello, people. Welcome. Phone number is 888-659-3727. It is Friday, June something or other. Don't want to give out the exact date. Just in case we're being followed. And this is the Hair Loss Show. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I am Spencer Kobren, founder of the American Hair Loss Association, author of The Bald Truth and author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss. Also, the founder of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, Joe Tillman, live from Vancouver, British Columbia, is with us as always. He is the original hair transplant mentor, guy who's been dealing with hair loss for longer than most of you guys have been alive, and a guy who's been in the trenches in this field in a manner in which most people who are providing advice online in this crazy world of social media and video platforms, he's providing advice that, frankly, this guy has forgotten more than most of these people will ever know. And I say that... Thank you. Well, I say that because it's important for consumers to understand that while there's certainly people out there who are doing their best to provide decent information, they just don't have the time on tissue, so to speak. They just don't have time in the trenches, time in the game. They don't know the back end. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's happening behind that fucking insane curtain that they're still in front of. Because the people that they work with will never allow them behind that curtain, or that they work for.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all about...
No, that's a great point.
It's all about interviewing doctors or highlighting, people that they don't really know much about, selling products and services. And with that said, that's fine. It really is, honestly. But you have to understand that the information that's being provided is really just surface information or stuff that's regurgitated that anybody could read online. The information that we provide is just the fucked up truth about this industry. Stuff that you guys could never imagine that's actually happened in this field. If you think your doctor is an expert because he has the most fucking followers online, or he's connected to some influencer or whatever it is, think again, motherfuckers.
I don't know why it makes me laugh when you say that, because it's a very poignant style of saying it.
Thank you. I don't think Victoria. I don't think Victoria thinks so. But yeah, she'll probably pass. She'll be
several that would disagree.
She'll be passing this clip around, and I'll be getting calls from certain physicians saying, "Why do you curse so much on the air? That's so unprofessional." You know what's unprofessional?
Why are you such a foul-mouthed?
You know what's unprofessional? Fucking people up, lying to people, misleading people, providing them false hope when you know you can't actually help this person in the long run.
I gotta tell you, thank you for that intro. Like that was really nice to hear. But it just kind of reinforces the excitement I have for this next video that I've been preparing. I've been wrestling with this video for a month. How to record it, how to get these thoughts across, and I finally figured it out. I finally put it into a package that I think will be some really hard truth for a lot of people. Like what I'm saying in this video coming up, hopefully be released over the weekend. It's really going to make people rethink the hair transplant industry and how clinics treat patients as a number as opposed to a person. And it has to do with the guarantees that we've talked about. And I've talked to you offline about my position on this or our position on this. So everyone watching this, I encourage you, if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button and ring the bell for all notifications to be notified when this video is released. I'll be making the announcement as far as like it's going to be live streamed, or not live streamed, but it'll be a premiere where everyone can chat about it while it's going on. I think it'll be about a 15-minute video, but it's just me talking to the camera with some images thrown up, but just to reinforce what I'm talking about. It's not showing scalps and doctors and tools, and it's none of that. It's just me talking to you on camera about what I think is a really important subject that no one talks about. So,
and I think being able to communicate that way, what is it? Off the cuff, extemporaneously.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking mind, man? Am I losing part of my vocabulary? What's going on? I'm pulling another Biden.
You left it back at 55.
Being able to speak off the cuff like that, being able to sit there. Listen, it's funny. After Europe, I gave a couple of talks, and one talk was kind of a canned talk. I had some slides. I don't love doing that, but I did it. And it was pretty good. It was powerful, but it could have been something more. I felt, I was kind of watching the room, and I was like, I don't know if these guys are getting this. But my second talk, I did it completely off the cuff, no script, no slides, standing there in front of a mic, and that shit hit home because that is a hard thing to do, to be able to express yourself about a subject that you know so intimately, in a manner in which nobody can. Everyone else is, trust me, all these guys who are providing information, whether they're doctors or not, half these guys, well, I know the doctors, they're using teleprompters. I know a guy who does it.
Yeah.
Being able to provide information off the cuff like that is, to me, it just shows a person's expertise, period. And, I had to tell you, my Instagram is growing, guys. So, guys, if you haven't followed me yet on Instagram, it's at Spencer Kobren. Follow me. Let's get to that 3,000 mark. That would be wonderful, man. That's it.
It would be.
Because those are 3,000 real people who need real help and who are actually supporting and following what we do. You're not going to see my Instagram jump up to 100,000 because I don't see the point in doing what a lot of these physicians do and clinics do and, essentially just getting some bot to do some shit and, buy followers for what? So you look like you have more followers? To me, you want the engagement. You want to actually be able to, but you want to be able to reach people. And I realized that's hard.
Of course.
That's hard. Like I'm a real boy. I'm a real person in this field. And it's hard for me. So when I see a clinic that has 1 million followers, a Turkish clinic that has 1 million followers, I'm like, something's weird here.
Something's off kilter. Something doesn't, like there's no effing way that's legitimate.
And that's why it's so important, if you are picking your surgeon based on their followers or based on people just being sycophants online and engaging and saying how wonderful their work is, are you guys fucking stupid? I mean, think about it.
Have you lost your goddamn mind?
Yeah, that's not the way the world works, man. It only works in this insane world of social media. It started in the message forum world where people would post their images and all of a sudden all these anonymous guys would start to say how wonderful work and clap and applaud these doctors and just say how wonderful this is. And no one was able to figure out that was bullshit. It's unbelievable to me. And I remember a doctor who was on one message forum and was also posting on Bald Truth Talk, and he says, how come no one ever comments on on my work on Bald Truth Talk. I'm like, because we don't allow them to. If you give somebody permission, if someone gives you permission to show their images, we don't want someone to come on there and say, hey, that work sucks, and this guy go on and off himself. And we don't want your competition to start saying possible nasty things about you. And we don't want to open things up to the possibility of extortions or allowing a moderator to come out there and maybe say something anonymously that's negative about your practice because you pissed them off or decided not to pay.
And it's happened.
It's happened. That is the nature of this game. That is what the forum world was built on. And you guys who it's like, I'm sorry if I sound like I'm on a rant here, but sometimes it's so mind-boggling that so many people just don't, I guess we're just desperate or whatever, but we don't have the ability to be critical thinkers when we're in a situation like that and think, wait a second, do you mean there's actually someone who spends their entire life online commenting on doctors' images? You know? Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I wanted to, sure, we could have a tremendous amount of engagement on their doctors' images. I could hire 10 people. I could do it myself. Could do it all anonymously. Who the fuck is going to know? 888-659-3727. We are on a roll. Let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Well, hello there. It's Rolandas from Portugal.
Rolandas. How are you, man?
Rolandas.
I'm very good.
Buddy?
Yeah, I decided to change my living place from UK to Portugal.
You decided to change your what?
For a week. My living place.
Oh, okay. So how's Portugal?
For a week. Portugal is great. Got my surgery done. Second one, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually a few hours out of the OR, and I decided to call you.
Wow. So when the fuck is Bruno going to apply to the IHRS? It's unbelievable to me.
You know, I actually asked him today. He said he has no plans.
That's unreal. Well, good luck to him.
I mean, he said he's pretty busy.
Well, I think that's an interesting point. In Bruno's mind, in this physician's mind, and that's a lot of guys, they look at what we do as, oh, I don't need to be busier, so why do I need to support an organization that is supporting truth in advertising and smart consumerism? I appreciate that insight, by the way. So go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hopefully he's not hearing. Well, anyways, yeah, there's a couple of things I would like to kind of talk about. Interesting things and a little bit bad things. So, first of all, let's start from the surgery. It was great for the listeners who doesn't know me yet. It's my second surgery with Dr. Ferreira. First one was done last year. Now was the second one to finish off whatever was left, which was mid-scalp and crown, and a little bit of temple points, which is great. And yeah, it went well, 2-day surgery. Everything looks great. So I'm really happy with that. Currently in the hotel.
Sorry to interrupt, but you had your surgery last year. And I think I recall the reason why you decided to go to Dr. Ferreira. What was the reason why you decided to go there?
Oh, there were many reasons, but I was like in a deep research mode. But Dr. Ferreira mainly like appealed to me. Like he provided me the best like online consultation, for example. He like answered all my questions, but like properly. He even went with me like a video chat half an hour just to kind of reassure and answer everything. And he just like went all above and beyond basically. And also his results. Even though he didn't have many of them, but what I've seen, it looks excellent. So, I don't know, I just had this like a really good gut feeling that it's the right surgeon. And of course, we, have to mention the finances that, financially he was like in my absolute maximum budget, but I could squeeze in, but I couldn't squeeze in anything else more. So technically that's the best I could get.
I seem to recall a younger version of Mr. Rolandes calling the show and asking Mr. Kobren and myself what we knew about Mr. Dr. Bruno Ferreira, and our words were, paraphrasing, that he was one of the future leaders of the industry, and that we thought he was a good guy, and that was what sealed the deal for Mr. Rolandes. And so I bring it up. I'm jovially, because he's saying he's already busy. Why does he think he's busy? It's because you went there after our input, and then you go online and you have basically made this guy famous.
Yes.
Like you have, I got to say, Mr. Rolandes, as a patient, you are a fucking dream for any doctor out there. You remind me myself when I first got into the industry as a patient blogger 20 years ago, and so for him to say, I don't need it because I'm busy. Why the fuck do you think you're busy, Bruno? It's because this is how it works.
Yeah,
I just had to say that.
Well, that's interesting, but I do find it interesting, and I find it, again, I find it just very telling. The newer doctors who are applying to the organization, they fully understand what we do, and what we do is we provide you guys with the truth, and whoever chooses not to support that just because they think it's about leads, holy shit, man, we need to give them an education.
There is only one. There is another reason. He also mentioned that he got a lot of different propositions from others, but he mainly wants, at least for now, to kind of be independent. I don't know what exactly he meant by that, but I don't know. It's a good or bad thing. It's up to him. I don't want to go into his business.
No, sure. There's no proposition. There's no proposition here. What we do is separate and apart from everybody else. That's all we're trying to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, from others, they're other beings.
I've known Bruno for 8 years, and I remember when he first came up to me in San Francisco. He wanted to meet me because he was just starting out, and I was the big Joetronic consultant for Hassan and Wong, and he and another colleague of his came up to me to meet me, and we've been. I didn't see him for a few years after that, but we've been friends ever since. And I think, regardless of what he does with his business, I think that he's a great guy and obviously very talented. And I'm glad that he's done such a great job with you. I'll stop interrupting you. Please continue with your story.
Yeah, my story. Well, yeah, I just wanted to plug in and about him. Like I said, I don't know. It's just. I really don't want to influence his business. It's his business. He do what he wants to do. He's doing well. My only point is that I really like seeing good work done by good doctors. I hate seeing bad work done by bad doctors. So
we all feel the same way, and that's why what you're doing I think is great. Actually, I think there are very few channels out there. There are very few patients out there who are doing it correctly. And you're one of them. And it's important that people know that you had a good result, man, that you're happy. And, a lot of guys go online and they claim that they're happy or they just want to talk about their experiences. And then a year later, they're fucked up. And sadly, they've been guided to the doctors who fucked them up. And then they figure it out a year later.
Speaking about being fucked up, not everything is as green as it looks like. So my transplant is perfect. I absolutely love the hairline and everything. But yesterday, I found very interesting thing about myself that I really never thought I've got. So it turns out I've got a slight tendency to get keloid scars.
Wow.
Like a very, very minimal.
Okay.
So, and how we found out is when we basically buzzed my hair down to see the donor, and the scars looked like a little bit bigger, like a tiny bit bigger than they should have been, and they were very, very white, like a proper white. So I've got a very pale skin, but and really good donor density, and the hair in the donor is like medium to dark brown, and it stands out. So some people like, oh, straight away it's a bad extraction and everything. So yeah, and Dr. Ferreira explained to me. He was even actually surprised as well to see it because it stands out. And then we checked my other scars all over my body, and it looks the same. Whenever I had like a little cut, for example, in the childhood, this cut is still here, and the cut is like a little bit like raised. It's a white color, and I've got so many of them. So yeah, interesting thing to find out about myself. And I just wanted to say that a lot of people think FE is scarless. It's not scarless, and things like that can happen even if you don't really know. So
the only reason people think FUE is scarless is because people are marketing it as scarless. People are marketing, they're concentrating on no linear scar without saying, but we're still going to be leaving your entire head scarred. And I find it's really important that people know that if you have more than 500 FUE grafts extracted, you are going to have a level of scarring that you would never have, honestly, with a linear scar. It's a different type of scarring, but and it's placed all over your scalp. But your entire back of your head is scarred. If you have 1,000 grafts, if you have 2,500 grafts, while they may be punctate wounds and they may be small and they may be well hidden within your hair, even at when it's cut short, that is all leftover scar tissue. And it's important that people know that.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I realized that I need to kind of raise more awareness towards this because, some people feels like they're just living in the dream world, with these pink glasses that I'm just gonna get the FE, and after that I'm just gonna rock a skin fade. Yeah, to the bone, and it's going to be fine.
And they're like, well, and if things don't work out with this FUE, I don't have to worry about a scar. I could just shave my head. No, you probably can't.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
I remember those discussions like they were yesterday. I remember I actually did the math on the amount of scar tissue you get. You get significantly more scar tissue with an FUE procedure than you do an equally sized, equal number of grafts from an FUT procedure, assuming both heal well. And it's actually staggering how much more scar tissue. It's not concentrated into a linear pattern. There is no pattern to it. It's broken up, so it doesn't draw the eye. That's the difference. It's actually more scar tissue from FUE. But yeah, I mean, it is something that more people need to realize because it's not even discussed anymore. It's just kind of brushed under the carpet as a non-point of discussion in the grand scheme of things now. They just talk about getting your hair back. They don't talk about the finer details of the scarring. So yeah, I mean, you need to talk more about that. I think it's important.
Definitely.
So how many keloids did you get? Just one?
I'm like an outlier.
How many keloids did you get? How many keloids did you notice? Just one?
Well, it's not a proper scar. It's just all of the dots. They're slightly like a little bit elevated. They're like a white, properly white. That's how Dr. Ferreira exactly explained to me. It's like a proper keloid scar, but it's something resembles like that.
Okay, so it's not really a keloid. It's basically just a slightly raised scar tissue because when you take out that punctate wound, depending on actually how drawn, if you are prone to scarring, even if it's slight scarring, well, you don't have to be prone. Yeah. I think even the average person can have very similar scarring.
I don't know. Interesting fact, though, that I really want to mention that I remember at 6 months after my first surgery, I did a low skin fade, and it was pretty undetectable. The scars were not the same like they are right now. They were completely different. But as the time went by, I think after 1 year, I noticed they became like a whiter and obviously more visible. So yeah, that's like
honestly, that sounds like normal scar tissue.
Perhaps. I guess you need to see it in person to. I don't know. That's basically what Dr. Ferreira said, and to me it makes sense because like if I look at any other, even tiny little scars or bruises on my skin, all of them looking like the same. They kind of raised a little bit. They never disappear. So I don't know. Anyways,
how old are you?
I think it's very important.
How old are you?
29.
29. Oh man, that's a good age, yo. You're in the prime of your life, man.
Well, the good thing is my donor is excellent. So after extracting 6,500 grafts over 2 surgeries, I still got pretty good amount of hair in there. That I have no doubt with the Guard 2, it's gonna be looking great.
That's great, man. Look, I am really happy for you, and I love the work that you're doing. Even though I've only seen a couple of videos, but it's so important that someone who's level-headed, a young guy who's level-headed, and he's willing to go out there and actually provide people with accurate information. Not enough of you guys exist.
Well, I appreciate that. There is also one more positive thing that I wanted to share, and it's all good finasteride.
Good.
So, I've been on finasteride for the last, I think around 23 months, 1 milligram a day. And interesting fact, what I noticed that a lot of people give up before they get the biggest, biggest results.
Yeah.
So for the first year, let's say, it was great. It kind of drastically slowed down the hair loss, but it didn't regrow much, and that was it. But after around month 13, 14, my hair loss kind of stopped completely. I think I already spoke about it before. But now I notice my mid-scalp and crown, like right now, are looking much better than they were when I was on finasteride 6 months, and then when I was on minoxidil plus microneedling for 12 months, all combined. Since then, obviously, I dropped minoxidil microneedling because I was going the surgery and I didn't come back to it. But finasteride long-term, up to 2 years, you guys can experience much more improvement.
Look,
to be honest, I was really surprised.
Clinically, it shows that. It also shows clinically, for all the clinical trials, all the data out there, that people who experience adverse side effects at the beginning of treatment, if they stick it out, usually the side effects are transient in most cases. And when you get to the 2-year mark, the differential between the placebo group and the side effect group, I think, or is a year mark, and the people who are taking the pills, the side effects were actually very similar, if not equal. So I think it's important that if people want to try this, that they really do need to stick it out for several, on several instances. One is, if they're hyper concerned about side effects, first of all, you shouldn't take it. But if you experience any adverse side effects, dropping the drug right away, you have to talk to your doctor about this. But based on all the experiences of those who've called this show for the last 24 years, those who've stuck it out, every one of them who's called this program have seen those side effects be transient. And those who've stuck it out, just about every one of them, maintain their hair and regrew hair for the long term, at least as long as they called the show. I know guys who've been on the drug for 15, 20 years who are calling this program, and they still see benefits from it. So I just kind of think that people, young guys especially now, are doing themselves a tremendous disservice to at least, they at least have to talk to their doctors about getting on it. And you're a prime example of that.
100%. Yeah. Just wanted to put it out there. It's very important. So many people, they just dropping after 6 months or 12 months. And I'm already tired telling them, just stick a bit longer. Original studies, up to 2 years, you can experience more.
Yes. Look, I'm going on.
It's not game over.
I was your age when I started, a little younger. So what is that? Almost 30 years I've been taking this drug? 30 years. And I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind that I would not be in the position that I am hair-wise if I didn't start early on in the process. So there's a lot of guys. I've had guys who call the show, and then we had this one guy that called in a few weeks ago who his parents suggested that, you know what, wait till you lose enough hair to get a hair transplant, then redo your hairline, and then get on finasteride. What kind of fucking logic does that make?
Yeah, it's a classic logic, to be honest.
I know.
It's a very classic logic.
I know, but you're teaching young guys. I think a lot of young guys will listen to you based on your experience as a young person, and I think it's invaluable that you're doing what you're doing.
Well, I guess that's one of the reasons that, I'm doing what I'm doing. I just hate seeing bad things. Because I was one of them. I knew about finasteride for 5 years. And I dropped 2.5 Norwoods.
2.5 Norwoods. So, that sounds like a band.
I love that. 2.5 Norwoods. It does.
Yeah, it's
that's good.
No, really, it's one of the worst decisions in my life, easily. So that's not great. I would not need to get all of this transplant, spend all of this money, and the life would have been so much easier overall. So.
Well, the key is early intervention. I think your message is important. So many people have called us over the years who started years after they wished they started, and they all say, "I wish I would have started 2 years ago or 5 years ago."
Yeah.
So if it's ever in your mind, if you're ever considering using this drug, conventional wisdom would say the earlier the better. That's it. All right.
100%.
Dude, we're going to take another call, but man, good luck. I hope everything goes well. Congratulations on your second procedure. Say hi to Bruno for me, and always feel free to call the show, man. You're a great caller.
Of course. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, man.
Have a nice rest of the show.
All right.
Thanks,
buddy.
man. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, bye-bye.
One of the good guys. Hard to find.
One of the future leaders of the online educational movement.
But one of the good guys, I mean, Jesus. Everybody, no one wants to share, no one wants to help to, spread the word, amongst everyone who's doing good work in the field. He's one of them.
Wait. You mean I'm not going to get paid?
Oh, no.
That's what people think about.
That's true.
That's what people think about.
Sadly. Phone number is 888-659-3727. Let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Connor from Oklahoma. Hey.
Connor, what's happening, man?
Hey, man.
Not much. So I talked about this to Joe a few days ago, and I want to, kind of open up a door to your thoughts of microneedling. Since, on the show, you guys, are more, you guys have a gray area feeling about microneedling.
Gray area? Here's my feeling.
Yeah.
It's a complete waste of time, I think, in my view. I think that it could be people could be well served if they say they're getting PRP and, a physician wants to help to activate the healing process and the growth process by, using microneedling or a dermapen or something like that. That makes sense to me. Every few months, that makes sense to me. These guys are doing it on a daily basis. Yeah. Whatever results you're seeing, I have never seen anyone, A, have long-term results, or B, continue on to see if there's going to be long-term results. They just disappear.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to, debunk that. Well, it's not daily microneedling, but...
How dare you?
A YouTuber
Go ahead,
named,
let's hear it.
Okay. That was funny. A YouTuber named Hairy Growth of Alex did a 1.5 millimeter dermal roller once a week 5 years after he was on finasteride. He started in 2013 with minoxidil, and then he gained he pretty much gained a crop load of hair back. And till this day, he still has a lot of hair, and I can tell that the microneedling, there's no way minoxidil would respond to him that well because he gained 50,000 hairs back on his head.
50,000? He only has 100,000. You're only born with 100,000.
How do you know he wouldn't respond like that? How do you know he wouldn't respond like that with minoxidil?
Because he's responded like a genetic freak.
No, but how do you know you said he wouldn't respond like that with minoxidil. How do you know?
Well, it's because like the way his hair grew back, it grew back so much. It pretty much like turned back the clock to how his hair looked like even before he lost his hair. And like pretty much to this day, he still has that much amount of hair, and I can tell he's probably still doing microneedling once a week. And yeah, he hasn't lost any, and I could tell it's not a hair transplant, of course, because he's shown what his hair looks like up close, and he's shown like timelines of pictures over the years.
No, that's fine, and I have no idea who this is. I've never heard of this person before, so I'm not like it's sight unseen, so I don't know anything about this. But has he made claims that he's drug free? He's not using minoxidil. He's not using finasteride or dutasteride or anything like that.
And is he selling anything?
Oh no. He's still using finasteride. He's just saying that he's blocking DHT still from finasteride. He was just sharing his story of how like he was able to like regrow back a lot of hair from like microneedling and minoxidil for like.
And does
like
he just do the YouTube? Does he do his YouTube channel like without selling a product or service?
Yeah, he just like gives like he gives like tips like of like what to not to eat. Or
but does he
like,
have any type of like an eat? I'm just curious,
right.
and I, you know, just based on experience, I just know that if there's some sort of a tips and tricks or secrets or whatever it is, if it's being sold, that's something you have to look at with a jaundiced eye. If not, and if he's just out there providing his experiences, then that's great.
Yeah, he's just providing experiences. He's like saying he saw scalp inflammation, DHT problems. Pretty much he got hit pretty hard in his 20s because he had like so much other hair problems plus the DHT.
Yeah,
and he like lost like a lot of hair.
Okay, so so how is this going to help you right now? Because you still have a lot of hair. You're going to microneedle with all the hair that you have?
Well, I just look at it as an opportunity. I mean, the reason why I still do it because I started microneedling when I was like more in a panic. Yeah. And right now I'm not in a panic now, so I kind of want to know. Just stay on it. Also, it's just I'm only doing like 3 things.
Well, look, if it makes you feel better, and if you're not damaging yourself, and if it's not something that you're doing too aggressively, and you think that there's a potential for it to help you, then that puts you in a better mental space at the very least. And if it does do something, great.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if there is a chance where I will just wing myself off the microneedling. There's a possible chance because like there would be times before in the past where I would go 3 weeks without it.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. If you feel like just what I mean by that is like. Just because our opinion is one thing, this could be a very innocuous treatment. As long as you're not really abrading your scalp too much, if it's something that makes you feel better, and if you've seen any positive results, listen, I'm not looking at your head. I'm not, you know your hair better than anybody else. I say, if it works for you, stick with it. Don't worry about what anybody says.
I can say that it has been working in the shedding process.
And just because Joe thinks you're out of your fucking mind, I wouldn't listen to him.
Okay, Joe. Okay.
I did not say that.
Okay, Joe. Listen. Do you see me putting castor oil on my head, hanging upside down, doing scalp massages, and putting onion juice in my head? No.
Hey, I don't see anything because what you don't share those things with me, and what you do in the privacy of your own home is your own business. But you've never talked to me about that. I'll say that much. You haven't told me you've done it.
Well, I don't do. I'm just saying, do you see me right now hanging upside down and putting onion juice on my head and massaging it.
Not yet. But let me tell you something. If you get really desperate, you never know.
Not yet. Come on, Spencer.
Look,
Not yet.
I did all that shit. I did all that shit. But you have to understand, this was the Dark Ages. This is like 1987. Think about that. You weren't even born yet, my man. And I was hanging upside down with gravity boots from a chinning bar. I was putting niacin on my head to create a flush. I was taking niacin to create a flush, and then putting like cayenne pepper on my head. I was reading everything that I possibly could in the fucking library. The information that was being provided to me was being provided by insane people. Not much different than what's happening online right now. But at least now we have real, we have real drugs that can help us. When I started, there was nothing, man.
Yeah. Like we got Finasteride, minoxidil, low laser light therapy, maybe.
You guys, this is the best time in history to start to go bald. The best time.
Yeah. And also, let me stop you there. On top of that, if you don't want to take the treatments, we're not on that timeline to where if we shave our heads, nobody's going to think that we're racist back then or something.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Or look like you're working on the railroad. I mean, none of that.
Yeah.
Joe gets that. All right.
I imagine how.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Before I just want to talk about it. Like, I feel like hair loss was the hardest. Are you okay?
I don't know if he's okay. Sometimes he's not. Are you all right, Joe?
Okay.
Okay.
No, what you just said just kind of cracked me up.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I would say oh gosh, I know what you're thinking. Okay. I feel like the hardest thing about hair losses in the 1980s was like all together with like no proven treatments, plus the beauty standard throughout the world of like saying, oh, bald men should never go, young men should never go bald young.
That's right.
And shaved heads being considered racist. So yeah, that's a lose-lose for everything.
Our bald role models, there were 2 people. 3. There was Kojak, Telly Savalas. There was Yul Brynner, who played the Pharaoh in Ten Commandments. And there was the, who's the brother who did the 7-Up commercials?
The who?
He was a black dude, like from the Caribbean, who did 7-Up commercials with a shaved head.
Looks like I remember.
Oh my God! Yeah. I don't know his name, but
and there was a cartoon character who was a pitchman for a cleaning product. His name was Mr. Clean. That's
Mr.
it.
Clean.
Yeah.
That's all we had. But everybody else had this incredible, beautiful head of hair. Long hair was in, and if you were 21 years old losing your hair, it was over. You were finished, man. And that is when the real hacks in this industry were able to thrive. The guys who are publishing the biggest books, the guys who are given awards for lifetime achievement awards in this industry. I mean, I got one too, but I never performed surgery. But guys who destroyed the lives of countless men and then taught others to destroy people's lives. They were able to do it because there was no out. There was no choice. You either were a horseshoe bald guy because you couldn't shave the sides of your head, or you were a guy with bad plugs or a bad toupee. Those are your choices.
And we still had to wear parachute pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I'm wearing right now, by the way, because they're comfortable as shit.
Or let's just say if you're in the like thinning process, you have to be like have to have a grown out comb over.
A completely grown out comb over. I was lucky enough to be able to kind of, I have the quasi comb over like the Trump the early years thing and maintain it. So I never had to do the full comb over with the part all the way down to my ear. So I feel very fortunate about that. But yeah, that was it, man. That's what we fucking had.
Yeah.
So you're Connor, you're very lucky to be young at this point, even though balding sucks. You're very lucky that you were born at the time that you were born.
Mm-hmm. I can say right now, hair loss doesn't feel like it's affecting me that much anymore.
You're welcome.
Sure, it stinks that I have to. It stinks that I have to like take medication now, but hair just doesn't really define me anymore. I just work, just put my effort into everything else now.
Instead of saying it sucks that you have to take medication today, be grateful that you can take medication today. Because we didn't have that coming up. We didn't have that when we were your age. Like it wasn't, just wasn't there.
You know, it would suck.
Be grateful.
It would suck to have to take medication for a disease that can possibly kill you. It would suck to be in that position. Yeah. But you know what? You'd still be lucky to have the medication to live. So yeah, man, you're in a good position, kiddo.
Yeah, you don't want to talk. Yeah, but one thing I want to say is that I am grateful that there is finasteride. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be those guys where it's like, okay, I'm on finasteride now, and I don't want to like be those guys that are like, oh, I'm not focusing on my talent and everything, but hey, at least I got hair on my head.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way: the majority of people in this world don't focus on shit. They just kind of float through this fucking world and hope for the best. They wake up every day and they go to their fucking, they get in their metal coffins and drive to a job that they fucking hate, and then they end up, getting somebody pregnant or whatever, hooking up with the wrong person, and they're stuck for life and they're doomed. That's most people. You don't have to be that person. Concentrate now.
Doomed, yo.
Figure it out. Figure out what you want to do with your life. Yeah. If it doesn't work out right away, figure out something else and keep at it. I'm still working. I still am not giving up. I am not giving up at doing this.
Yeah.
Because I know that, A, we're helping people every day, and we will hit a tipping point where people are going to be like, that motherfucker never gave up. We can't beat him. Mm-hmm. We can't get him off our fucking backs. That's how I operate.
Like, he won't go away.
Dude, I don't quit until I get the fucking restraining order. Period.
Yeah.
Spencer Kobren is like a little cockroach.
That's right.
Yeah. As I was saying, those are some true words, Spencer, where it's like, just keep thriving.
Keep thriving.
Just keep thriving. Yeah.
All right, dude.
Well said.
Like, just do what you do.
Keep thriving.
Well said.
Keep thriving.
That's what we do, man. We're working and we're thriving. So you too, man. And I'm glad that you've been able to see things for what they are, help yourself, and now you're in a much better position. So we're going to take some more calls, all right?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
All right,
also, see you guys like a month probably from now. Like,
call in whenever you want, man. Whenever you want, you're welcome to call in if you get through. We're here.
Yep.
All right, dude.
Also, Joe, the reason why it's a month is because I feel like I'm driving Joe crazy.
Well, everyone drives Joe crazy, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. Sorry, Joe.
No. There's nothing to apologize for. You got questions? Reach out to me. If I got time to answer, I will. If I don't, then it'll be a while. That's just all there is to it. It's not that. Yeah. Anytime you got something to ask, just fire off a question. All right.
All right, buddy. Yeah. Take care. See you, Connor.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Guys, we have phone lines open. The phone number, 888-659-3727. For whatever reason, the people on hold hung up when Connor was on. I don't know why. But we're here, and we'll take your calls. 888-659-3727. I was reading the chat. The paint that I wear on the back of my head and the mid-anterior scalp is not actually paint. It's a product called Derm Match. It is like a compact makeup product. We provided Derm Match with the American Hair Loss Association seal about a decade and a half ago. And honestly, everyone wants that fucking seal, and we don't provide it to really anybody. I felt that was a safe product to license the seal to, and it's a product that I use every day. I don't sell it, but, it works for me. There are other products out there. There are spray-on products. There are great fiber products. For me, it works because I'm able to put it on dry. I don't wet the applicator, so I don't actually paint my head. I put it on dry, put a little hairspray on it, boom, it's done. I feel good about it. I could paint a part in, essentially. Who's better than me?
That takes talent, by the way. Practice and talent.
Yeah, well, you've been doing it long enough. You've been living in my skin long enough. You know, you have a lot of time to fucking dwell on shit and think and figure things out.
I know some people that like to.
Oh, Jesus. That always scares me. Guys, give us a call, 888-659-3727. I also saw a guy asked how old I was. I'm 56 years old. And how dare you say I look like I'm in my mid-40s? No, I take that as a very great compliment, I think. I don't know what to think anymore about age, Joe, to be honest with you.
I have no clue. Like,
I don't think about it. I try not to think about it.
I just look at my skin and I'm like, oh, didn't have that last year. Better than most people my age.
Oh, dude, I'm getting shit cut off me all the time. You want to old talk? It's fucking crazy, man.
No, I don't want to do old talk.
Yeah, I'm like, what's that? Here's the good news.
I will say.
The good news is I feel super strong, which is great. There's no difference in the gym. Haven't been able to play basketball because of the pandemic, even though the court is open now. You're opening something. We have a call, so you want to take that call?
I am.
All right.
Oh, we got it. Well, I'm just. I got a.
All right, guys.
From
hold on. Who guys who are holding on? Hold on. What the fuck is that?
This great company in Australia. They want me to try out their products. This is the way it comes, guys. Like this is what I get in the mail sometimes. Will you try our product? I was actually talking to these guys. They got a really cool story. It's called
Still Paint,
Uppercut
Don't Twist
Deluxe. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, they want me to try their hair care products. It's not hair growth. Oh my God, they sent me a bunch of...
Dude, that's shoe polish. That's the real deal. What is that?
Look at that.
Is that shoe polish? Is that for the top of your head?
It looks like shoe polish. Yeah.
That's what my shit looks like.
Easy hold. Shake and rake. I don't know. Styling powder. Yeah, they got. This is like what a lot of high-end barbershops use. Salt spray. Salt spray. Yeah. Okay. Cool. A lot of other stuff in here. Just thought I'd do that since we didn't.
Why don't you get them to send me some shit?
I can probably work that out.
Like, what can they?
Right.
What's good?
Who's
what's
on the
good?
phones?
Oh, that's a good call.
I don't know.
I see free stuff. I want it. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Spencer, Joe, what's up? It's Mike from New York. How are you?
Mike from New York, man. How are you?
Hello,
I'm
Mike
good,
from New York.
Thanks.
What's up?
I don't think you guys get thanked enough, but I just want to say thanks for doing the show because, you guys really take your time with callers, and I don't think you guys get told thank you enough, but just wanted to say thank you first.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. Yeah, no one ever...
Much appreciated. Thank you.
No one ever thanks me, man. My entire fucking life. No, really, I appreciate that.
I have some big news today I wanted to share with you. If you remember that,
I remember your story.
And also, so I'm the guy, putting off Finasteride for many years, and we spoke about that, and I tried virtually everything else, and this is, it was like, I went for a transplant, I don't know if you remember it, and the doctor turned me off and said he wanted me to go on Finasteride and all that.
Yeah, and you had, the last time we spoke, the pills were right by your bedside, and you didn't want to take them.
Correct. Well, I hadn't made a decision yet, and I basically, over the last couple months, I really educated myself even more and more on everything, and it's obviously something I don't want to take, and I would not be happy with taking, but I do know my situation. My situation is that I am, the last person on earth that could pull off a bald look. So this was a big thing for me, but I really did the research, and I felt finally comfortable enough to where I took it. I did finally take it, and just before I tell you anything, I just want you guys to know, like, when I finally took this, I really was very comfortable with it in the sense that, look, if this works, it works. If not, whatever, side effects. And because I told you, I think, back when I first discovered all this in 2007, when I started losing my hair, that's when, like, the whole big uproar about post-finasteride and all that, that's like when it really started hitting home on the internet.
Yeah. So
that scared me off, and this and that, and then, years later, and I'm a totally different person now than I was 13 years ago, and or 14 almost. And it's just there's no, I took the medication. Let me just tell you what happened, okay?
Yeah.
And it's the generic, this is something that we went back and forth. You can go back to this in a minute, but you kind of suggested the brand. But before I tell you what happened, I mean, are you guys aware of how much actual Propecia is now? Because it blew my effing mind when I went to the pharmacy. I already had my generic, and I asked it just out of curiosity. At least in the United States right now, 1 month supply, $120.
Holy shit, $120 for a month. How much you spend going out to drink?
I don't drink much, but if I go out, I don't know, whatever, $30.
I went out last night for dinner and a couple of drinks. There's $300 fucking dollars. I didn't even get much. That's in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead, man.
And just compare it to the generic, just for perspective. Generic, 3 month supply, $75.
Yeah.
1 month, 25. So 25 versus 120. I don't know. It just seen so many great cases online of generic being perfectly fine. I said, let me try this first, see how it goes.
Yeah, and generic can be perfectly fine. So I mean, it's reasonable.
Well, I took the first pill on Tuesday, and I just 100% will tell you what happened. So pretty soon afterwards, and I want to give you as much history as I can, but I've always been, this is one of the reasons, that the not so obvious reasons why I didn't want to start taking it, because I've always had a little bit of an issue sometimes with being fragile as far as medication and side effects. I'm a little more prone to maybe being that type of person. And anyway, half hour, maybe even less, started feeling a little lightheaded, just a little bit, maybe a little bit of dizziness in my head, and it wasn't enough to completely be like, oh my God, I'm going to feel crazy, but something was a little off. And it was enough to really make me feel like, hey, I don't like feeling like this. And mind you, this is 1 milligram. I said, okay.
And this was what, how many hours after you took it?
This was a half hour I started. This started coming on. And that's backed up by, when you take it, it instantly metabolizes according to everything I've ever read. Okay. This lasted, like I said, on and off for most of the day. The next day I was fine again. I felt fine. That was, so I then took I waited 2 days. I wasn't going to do it every day. I was going to start with a Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday type thing, whatever. So my second pill was today. Okay. I took it first thing in the morning. Same exact thing. 1,000%. Something's off. Feel a little uneasy. Feel a little, whatever you want to call it. I just really hope that none of you or nobody thinks like, oh, this is in this guy's head. 13 years, he was scared of it. That's just so not the case. This is a physiological thing happening. So I really want to just see what you guys think of this. I'm obviously devastated because I just felt like, you know what, I'm finally going to take this fucking thing.
Well, what is it? Are they is it a devastating side effect, or is it just a temporary feeling for an hour or two after you only took 2 pills? So describe it exactly. How long does it last? And if you wake up the next day feeling fine, how do you feel right now as you're speaking to us about it?
To be honest, I do not feel 100% right now. I don't want to talk down about the medication, because I know it could be so great, but it started a half hour again.
You can talk about it in any manner you want. You got to tell what's happening to
All right,
you.
Well, yeah, half an hour or so afterwards, started feeling off again. I was cleaning my kitchen, and I even felt a little off balance almost in the morning. This was about now an hour afterwards. By the afternoon, it kind of seemed like it subsided. And I was like, okay, great. Maybe I'm starting to, maybe my body's adapting to it a little better, whatever you want to call it. And then, like, as the afternoon progressed, I felt like it kind of came back and it was still there. Just something felt off. And here I am now at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And something just still feels off. And
now, did you talk? First of all, did you call your doctor?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Well, just to let you know, with any medication, and I'm not a physician, so this is not medical advice. sometimes when you take the first few doses, especially when it's a long-term medication, if it's something that you're going to have to take, even if it's an antibiotic or something like that, your body feels different. If I pop certain medication, I will feel a change in my body. Let's give, for instance, if I needed to take antibiotics for, for something, which I have, sadly, many times in my life, I've probably overprescribed it, as most people are. I feel them. I feel a change. I feel slightly clouded, my cloudy head, or there were times when I felt slightly nauseous, just kind of off. That's just the reality of the way that it is. If you take a heavy-duty antibiotic like Cipro, you can have even more significant adverse side effects that can be temporary, for the first few tablets. There are other drugs that you take. Even if you take aspirin, there are people who get lightheaded, dizziness, feeling of brain fog just from aspirin. So just know that anytime you take something, whatever that medication is, it does take your body a little time to eventually adapt to it and get used to. You're putting something into your body. If I go out and have Chinese food right now, God's honest truth, if I have what's the thing that really fucks me up? Kung Pao chicken, which I love.
I was just going to say Kung Pao chicken.
I have 2 bites. I cannot think and I cannot breathe. So what does that mean? That means that that's affecting me, sadly, in an adverse way, but it's also not going to kill me. But anything that you put into your body could change your system, at least temporarily. So you took 2 pills. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to take this drug. Now, you could stop taking it if you feel really uncomfortable taking it. You should talk to your doctor about that. But the side effects that you're talking about, they don't necessarily mean that it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be something that you're going to experience every day. I just want you to be aware of that.
And I'm fully aware of that. I know that there's transitional side effects and people that have fought through them and they go away. And I'm not, panicking and, oh, this isn't going to work for me. No. But I don't like feeling this way. And I also, just for, I don't know. I mean, you say, and everyone says, oh, did you talk to your doctor? I mean, the doctor, what do you realistically think a doctor would say if they heard something like this? I did do a baseline blood test to get some levels checked for all that.
It depends on the doctor. The doctor could be like, get off that shit, man. Yeah. Some doctors are going to panic. They don't want to get sued. They're going to take you off it right away, or they're going to give you a calm, rational advice. And one reason I say, did you speak to your doctor, or you should speak to your doctor, is because I have to say that. You're asking me essentially medical questions. The first thing that I want to go to is, did you speak to your doctor? You should speak to your doctor, and I'm not giving you medical advice. So I understand your point completely. What's the guy going to say? It depends on the doctor.
Yeah, and it does depend on the doctor, because some doctors will say, like Spencer said, get off of the medication now, just to cover their own ass. Others would say, push through, give it more of a real shot of doing what it's supposed to be doing. Others would say, you know what, do what you want to do. Let's do surgery next week.
Yeah,
and you get everything I just said, and more. And
there are guys who have a lot of experience who'll say, let me think. Okay, I've heard this happening to several of my patients, and they've all been fine. And they could relay that story to you as well, which could help to allay your fears. So there's a lot of possibilities.
What did you guys think, specifically Joe, who I saw wrote something in a forum a couple of years ago? What do you think about possibly trying a lower dose, cutting the pill, going that route if this persists, let's say, on to next week?
What dose are you taking? The 1 ml?
Yes.
Look, I have no problem with that, and I think that for some people it may be fine, because if you want to give this an honest effort, an honest shot of doing what it's supposed to be doing for you, so that you can move forward, setting up the baseline or the setting up the foundation for more action in the future, including but not limited to the surgical side of things, because you're looking to have surgery, I think it's fine.
Right.
I think that some people just need to take a different direction than what the normal accepted approach is for most people. Like when I started taking it almost 20 years ago, the idea was take it every day. But Dr. Wong prescribes it every other day, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday with weekends off. He's done that for years. His partner, Dr. Hassan, says, no, take it every day. So there's always different consensus on what you should do. But my position is do whatever the hell you want to do to feel comfortable with this medication. And more onto the efficacy of taking a lower dose, sure. Do I put a lot of stock in the microdosing side of things? Not really, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work. If you microdose to start off with, taking 1/4 of 1 milligram once a week or twice a week, but find the amount that you can take to where it doesn't make you feel different, because that's what's bugging the shit out of you, is it makes you feel different, and that just scares the shit out of you. And I get it.
Well, it's
so
not just
maybe try.
No, I was just gonna say, make sure
What?
It's not just that it's not that I feel a little different, like a little weird. It makes me feel like actually, not well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. So try a lower dosage, sure. Maintain the same schedule twice a week, but try a lower dosage. Try it. I won't suggest what you try, but just try lower and give it a month. Like, be consistent.
Okay.
Give it a month. See what happens. And if whatever level you back down to works out, where you don't feel ill or unwell, then you're in a position where you can make a decision about what to do next. Do you stay the course for another 2-3 months? There's nothing wrong with that, taking your time to figure it out. Do you bump it up to, say, 3/4 of a milligram if you can cut that precisely on the pill? Sure, try that too. You got options. You got options. Don't give up.
Thanks. No, I am not. I'm not. Came this far. Finally tried it, so I'm not going to give up. My very last question would be, I guess, do you think that, let's just say, if this didn't work out with this generic I have, that trying Propecia would be maybe possibly some sort of difference, and there really is some stock in that there is difference in brand versus...
There's 100% stock in that. There is no doubt in anyone's mind, any expert's mind, any pharmacologist's mind, that there's stock in. There's a molecular difference in each medication that's being manufactured by every different manufacturer. There are different fillers being used. There are things that could possibly make you more ill or completely mitigate the issues that you're having right now.
Gotcha.
Or eliminate them.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's different binders that people have issues with or may have allergies to that are used by one company that aren't used by another. It's just the way that it is, man.
Yeah. It's just it's hilarious because I see literally every other comment is people telling me it's in my head or that complaining about me, and that's
fuck people, man. Don't worry about what people say. That's how I feel about it. I mean, listen, everyone has the right to, has their opinion, but you know yourself. That's how I feel about it. You seem to be coming from a very reasonable place. You talked about your anxiety over the years. It took you a long time to get to this point, but like you said, you did your research. You felt confident to give it a shot. And is some of it in your mind? I don't know, but maybe none of it's in your mind. You know your own body. But the fact that you're willing to continue and to give it a try, to stick it out, to give it a real shot, I mean, it means that you're committed. And there's probably a good chance these things are going to be transient. I'm not a doctor again, but based on all the experience that I've had over the years, there's a very high possibility, a strong possibility that what you're dealing with now will be transient.
Thanks, Spencer.
All right, man.
I'll let you guys know how it goes in another month or so.
Thank you. Hang in there. Good luck. And if you need to call us next week, let us know. I mean, I'm curious.
True. Right. Okay.
All right, man.
Good to know. Thanks.
All right.
And again, thanks for what you guys do.
You got it, man. Take it easy.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
Mike. Bye-bye.
You know, people are crazy, man. Not him, but people like always judging people for, yeah, we're all fucked up, I mean, I have anxiety about stuff.
Yeah.
I have a movement disorder.
I don't.
For crying out loud. Sometimes, like this week, it kind of like I'm trying to control it, but it went off. I'm like, what's going on? I'm not super nervous this week. I don't know what's going on. Pretty relaxed. And yesterday, I found myself. I'm in this restaurant, and I am twitching. Like people just think I'm agreeable, which is good. They think I'm agreeable because I'm nodding my head. I'm like, no, I can't stop twitching. Fucking ticks, man.
Yeah, it works to your benefit because they think you're agreeable when you're actually plotting their destruction.
plotting their fucking demise. 888.
See, I look at it and I see you doing this. You're like, fucking motherfucker.
That's right. I am going to systematically dismantle you, motherfucker. 888
going down.
659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from the great state of Brooklyn.
Morty, how are you, man?
Morty.
I'm doing good, man. I'm finally going on vacation. Going away for a few days. Going to Charleston to meet up with an old flame.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old is the old flame?
She's only about 2-3 years younger than me, but we've known each other for a very long time. This was I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. This was the woman that I tried to hook up with when I moved to Florida.
She have good teeth?
And we've been talking again. Huh?
Does she have good teeth?
Does she have good teeth? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Listen, I'm telling you, once women hit their 40s, man, if they don't take care of their teeth, I'm out. That's all I'm going to say.
You reminded me of this one time that I went out with this girl I knew when I was in my teenage years, and she had this habit of putting powder in her nose, and she lost all of her teeth.
Yeah.
I remember this was years later. She wanted to get intimate, and she said, blowjobs are a lot better without teeth. I was just like, let me out of this car. Anyway.
Wow. Now did she take out her dentures for you?
Right.
So how was it?
She did not know.
Yeah. How'd it go? Look, Morty, after a couple of drinks, it's all the same anyway.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Anyway, so the reason I called. Yeah, well, I gotta throw it in there. The life of an over the hill single guy in New York City. It's kind of rough, man.
Well, you're not over the hill yet.
We love getting the updates. We love getting the updates of a day in the life of Morty.
Yeah, you're not over the hill yet. How old are you now? 51? 52?
I'm going to be 52 in July, man.
52 in July. Well, I mean, it really depends on the person.
I'm accelerating, man.
It really depends on the person. Like, it's funny when people are like, they call me middle age. I'm like, unless I live to 112, I'm pretty well past middle age, yeah.
I'm not going to get live to 100.
I am at the third chapter. What is it called? The third stage of my life at this point. AARP. I'm getting ads for silver singles. I can go to Chili's whenever I want. I go to Chili's whenever I want. Get a discount on Tuesdays.
Singles.
Silver singles, baby.
That's my reality, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. It. Cool. So the reason I called was because I had caught a video that you did with this guy who's really big in the anti-aging stuff. He's the one who does the turbo coffee, I think it is. And you and Dr.
Bulletproof.
Dr. Bauman. Yeah, Bulletproof. The Bulletproof guy. That's the guy, right? So
Dave
I
Asprey.
wanted to ask you. Thank you. I don't follow the guy very much, but I'm kind of a health nut. Always kind of have been, and I'm big into supplements and herbs and stuff like that. So what I wanted to ask both of you, because Joe, you're becoming this nutrition expert, and Spencer, we've talked about things like you're thinking about TRT, and I know the other thing that you'd mentioned was that your sugar is having some issues lately. Mine is too. What do you guys think about all this anti-aging stuff? And do you think if any of it really relates to hair at all?
You ever take a look at me, Morty?
Of course I do.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Look, I'm a believer, and I think that a key to slowing the aging process is maintaining your weight. I've been fat or heavy like an old wrestler. I mean, just like an old built dude. You've seen those, and I've been thinner. And I have to tell you that in the end, you definitely look younger and feel better when you are at a more healthy weight. That's key. Most people don't necessarily understand that, but that's absolutely key. And I also believe that eating less in general, or eating at within certain windows of the day, will benefit you in the long run. I've been kind of a long-term intermittent
100%.
faster. I'm doing less strong intermittent fasting than I was, but I still at least fast for a minimum of 12 hours to 16 hours a day. So during my sleep, and at least I usually always skip breakfast. I believe in that. I know Dave Asprey just wrote a book. It's already a New York Times bestseller. It's called Fast This Way. Now, I agree with a lot of what he writes in that book. I think he's a guy that knows just enough to be dangerous about a lot of things. And so I think that he's right on about a lot of stuff. But I'm also not a strong proponent of having to overfast, meaning to do these warrior diets where you're fasting 20 hours a day and you only have an eating window of 4. I tried that, didn't make me feel better, and frankly, I kind of felt like I wasn't functioning at my optimal level. So yeah, I agree in all that. As far as all the supplements and shit like that, I'm not a huge fan of over supplementing, and I'm not a huge fan of connecting myself to products or selling products, whatever it is. And I've had a lot of opportunities, both in the hair space and the anti-aging space, believe it or not. I think taking a vitamin D3 supplement is really important, especially if you don't get enough sunshine. I think if you're not eating enough, getting enough vitamin C in your diet from either broccoli or citrus, I think adding a little vitamin C could benefit you. Maybe some other stuff for your eyes, which, I don't currently take, but that's it, man. These people that wake up and take 1 million supplements a day, I think they're just pissing it out.
Depends on the supplements, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned intermittent fasting. Basically, a lot of these anti-aging, what they call senolytics, basically are trying to trick your body into thinking that it's in the middle of an intermittent fast without actually having to do so. And there's like the sirtuins, these specific genes that are activated when, after a certain amount of fasting. And there's a lot of those things going on. There's NMN, there's quercetin, there's fisetin, there's a bunch of these other herbs. And again, these names that I'm kicking out are not these aren't commercial products. These are phytochemicals that you can buy from any number of different vendors. So, when I say these things, I'm not trying to endorse one particular formulation. If anything, the formulations are a bunch of bullshit because they my mom actually, she wanted me to pick up a formulation for her eyes. And, there's certain things like lutein and zeaxanthin, which are good for dealing with, the aging eye. And she wanted me to pick up a particular formulation, and it was like $50 a bottle. And it's like ridiculous. I can go online and I can get every ingredient in a much higher percentage than what's in the formulation that you get for $50 for 6 bottles.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, that goes without saying. I wanted to get your view on it because there are a lot of things about hair loss which are tied to senescent cells and the idea that, your cells basically after a certain number of divisions, they stop dividing, and then they themselves put out inflammatory cytokines, which tells the other cells around them to act senescent, to act old. And at least I read one study which basically showed that the miniaturized hair on balding men tend to have a higher percentage of senescent cells than on the sides of their head. So in a sense, if you're losing your hair in male pattern baldness, the top of your head is older than the sides of your head, almost, one could argue. And so it naturally makes you think, okay, if there are things that are going to, work in that kind of anti-aging mode, would it make sense to consume of those things in order to help with hair?
I think that's actually a very lucid, well thought out question, and you're obviously your breadth of knowledge is impressive. But I can tell you this:
Thank you.
I actually was on the air. I don't know if you saw the whole video, or the whole podcast, and I asked Dave Asprey if he thought that Finasteride was an anti-aging drug, and I kind of stumped him. And the reality is, I believe that it was really one of the first anti-aging drugs prescribed, and that's been discovered because it works by works by several mechanisms, but you know that it lowers DHT through blocking 5-alpha reductase type 2, which creates the atmosphere so your prostate doesn't grow, and also your hair isn't aging. In most cases, in guys who do well with it, your hair is no longer miniaturizing. So if you're able to stop the aging process or the miniaturization process of an organ, which is your hair follicles, that's a huge. I mean, that's like putting a fucking man on the moon, in my view. So yes, I absolutely agree that there are things you can do to anti-age your hair, and what we know works for sure as far as drugs is finasteride and off-label dutasteride. So will taking supplements that could potentially help your hair? I believe that they can. I also believe diet can, for sure.
I agree. Cool. What do you think, Joe?
And that's where I get excited, because I look at our bodies as they're very complex, but they don't need much to do what they do to their optimum performance. And I think about this a few times a week, because I'm always interested in what I'm eating. And like right before I got here, back to the studio, I was at the local meat shop, Amron's, and it's all organic.
Ramrods?
Bison and Ramrods. No, yeah. Amron's. And he's got like this great selection of meats, and he's always asking me to try something new. It's all organic. It's all like the grass-fed, no antibiotics, none of the bad stuff that we get in the meat that we get from McDonald's. Like, it's all really good, organic, healthy stuff. But my big thing, it's sugar. Like, we're all addicted to sugar, and it's such a bad component to be ingesting in the amounts that we're ingesting it. And I've said this before, I've talked about on the show about sugar being the first thing I really learned about when it came to proper nutrition. And I'm trying to think of the name of the video. It's on YouTube. It's like 12 years old, from Dr. Lustig. And it's talking about the evils of sugar. It's a talk that he gave at some university that was being recorded for public access at the time, I believe. And it really changed the way I think about health. And when you're taking in sugar, a lot of people are having low-grade inflammation responses to the amounts of sugar that we're bringing into our bodies. Like, we'll have low-grade inflammation from other things that are being brought in, like pesticides and, of course, these other chemicals that we shouldn't be ingesting. But something that we feel is normal to be ingesting is sugar. And beyond sugar, it's high fructose corn syrup, which is in fucking everything. Like, read your labels. Like, you go to the store, if you get a can or box of anything, and you read your labels, you'd be fucking blown away, shocked by all the crap that's put in there. Yeah, well, there you go. And and a lot of it will have high fructose corn syrup. It won't even say sugar. And it's just, it causes these cascade effects. Like when you have internal inflammation, even low-grade internal inflammation, it causes a cascade effect in our bodies where we react in certain ways that we may not tie back to our own behavior. Like if you have some sort of rash that you get every once in a while and you can't figure it out why, it might be because of something that you ate 3 days before.
Sure.
And it's interesting to me because the Jordan Peterson, who's really popular on YouTube, he talks about this where
are we allowed to bring his name up?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
we can talk about the Wuhan lab now, so we can talk about Jordan Peterson. But no, I mean he talks about, he and his daughter talk about their own problems with food. And his daughter, when she was 20, or not even 20 years old, she was having body parts replaced because of her rheumatoid arthritis. Like that's, if you don't know what rheumatoid arthritis is, it's something that old people get. It's something that you normally don't see until you go visit your grandma in the nursing home. Rheumatoid arthritis, it makes your fingers look like yeah. So it can be. It was affecting her really bad. They couldn't narrow down what the problems were with their daughter. And long story short, she and her father, who also had a lot of issues and didn't know why, they started narrowing down their diets to try and figure out what was going on. It was actually her idea. And he talks about this a lot. She went to just meat and wasn't even eating vegetables. And the story is, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but you look at her on her own podcast, and she looks healthy, she looks happy. She's had a kid, like she got married and had a kid. So she's definitely feeling a lot better. All she does is eat meat. Like, there's no vegetables. And apparently, according to them, their bodies were reacting negatively to anything but actual meat. Now, I've tried that, and I got to tell you, it's really difficult. I got so sick of meat after about a week. I was like, I don't care. At this point, like, I cut everything else out. Sugar, like I'm really hardcore about sugar. I'm really hardcore about carbs in general, and some other things.
You really got them started, Morty, let me tell you.
I love eating meat. After a week, I got fucking tired of it, and I went and had a pizza. Like, I couldn't stand it.
Pizza sounds good.
So back to the point. It's like these things do have effects on our bodies. Now, does it have to do with hair loss? I don't think that there's a big correlation to it, but I can't discount it. And I can say that the first time I got real serious about keto, which wasn't called keto back then. It was called the caveman diet. It was called
Atkins?
Yeah, it was the caveman diet. It's before it was, this is about 8 or 9 years ago when I got back into strength training.
Okay.
The caveman diet is what it was called. And it was before it was really called keto, but it's basically keto. I lost 25 pounds while I was gaining muscle because I was doing some serious strength training. And I've maintained that kind of diet, not as strict, up until about 6 weeks ago, where I gained about 10 pounds of that back over time. I've lost that 10 pounds in the past 6 weeks.
Morty, stop typing.
I've gotten
Just
back
talking.
into this. I got back into the seriousness of this nutrition thing. My wife, she's lost about 12 pounds, 13 pounds at this point. And we're just maintaining now and enjoying it. And my hair feels better again. Like the first time I did this 9 years ago, I noticed after about 3 months, my hair just felt better. It looked better to me. I look back on images and video. It was better. And even now, 6 weeks into this, I feel my hair is looking better. Like I'm doing, I got these crop cuts now, much shorter. I decided to not care about how short it is anymore. And it's kind of exposed some weak spots on the top, which is fine. Like I don't care. But I started noticing actually this week that it's looking better. and it just kind of reinforces my.
I have to
my
say, your hair is looking
that,
beautiful, actually, full and lush and wonderful.
It is. No, Joe, you definitely look pretty good, Joe. As a matter of fact, both of you guys do.
Thank you.
And I'm all for it. I don't use, as far as foods, I do not eat any processed foods. The only quote unquote processed foods that I use, like, are some of the powders. Like I do like a powdered protein. I do a powdered collagen, in my shakes in the morning. But like, bags of chips or.
I'll have an occasional like break and get some Pop-Tarts, but in general, I eat pretty well.
I love Pop-Tart. I love Pop-Tarts, but I haven't had one in about 10 years. I love chips. The only chips I'll have now are when I have my cheat day and go get tacos and burritos.
Like if Zarian visits and wants to get stoned, I'll get some Pop-Tarts. Not that I get stoned, of course.
Hey, it's legal in most United States, including New York City.
It is legal. I can walk right down the block and I can get whatever the fuck I want. Just go into the store. Pop-Tarts and dope. And they're going to be legalizing apparently hallucinogenics here in California.
Lovely.
Magic mushrooms and LSD apparently.
Burn Shot in the chat room says,
out of California.
Hold on.
He says, if you're a carnivore, you need to eat liver and other organ meats. I do. And he also says some people's bodies will not work well without carbohydrates. Maybe. Mine works great without carbohydrates. Like the first 2 weeks, I felt mentally retarded, which is a common response from cutting out carbs and switching over to keto. And people don't know what that means. When you go keto, it means that your energy source comes from ketones instead of carbs and sugar.
Comes from fat.
Fat. Yeah.
But once I switched over, like once I pushed through those first couple weeks, it was like a fucking light switch went off. I woke up one morning, I felt like more energy than I can remember, consistently through the day, every day. And when I'd go to bed late after editing videos or whatever, I would sleep like a baby. And I don't mean shitting my pants and sucking my thumb. I just mean very solid, deep sleep, and wake up great again the next day.
Here's what I don't like about these diets.
And that's the great thing about it.
Here's what I don't like about these diets. I don't like the ideological, connection. These zealots who go online, they spend their lives telling, they're fighting on about what is actually paleo, and there's these
paleo. That's what.
Yeah, there's these camps of raw foodists and all this shit. Guys, just do whatever the fuck you want, man. I read these forums sometimes, or I see what's happening on social media. I'm like, people are fucking crazy. You do what works.
They're trying to find meaning in their life, Spencer.
You do what works for you. You do what works for you.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried so many different ways of eating, lifestyles, and I can tell you that for me, I function best not in ketosis, not just doing a completely low-carb or no-carb diet. I think low glycemic index carbs benefit me greatly. Yeah. I also feel stronger. My body is more muscular. It gets a better pump when I work out. And I just feel like I'm functioning better. And I've lived both ways. So honestly, it really depends on the person's physiology. Everybody is different. And anyone who is just such a zealot and says, it's this way or the highway, or even intermittent fasting, this is the only way to anti-age, that's bullshit.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that everybody's body is different, and not only is everybody's body different, but everybody's body is different at different points in their lives. Yeah. Something that worked for you in your 20s isn't going to work for you in your 40s and 50s. I remember some of the things I was eating back then. Like I'd eat a plate of fries and a hamburger. If I do that, I'm going to end up with a stomachache for like the next day and a half. So we all need to just listen to our bodies, and that's kind of really important. The things having to do, to bring it back to what I was talking about, the anti-aging things, is that a lot of these chemicals or phytochemicals that they're discovering in their body, they go down in your body as you age. Like NMN, for example, is one of those things that in your 20s are going to be at a certain level, and when you're in your 50s, it's going to be about half of that level. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always kind of fascinated to read about the supplementation of these things, because, you know, it seems logical in my mind that, you know, there are certain things that are they're not going to be, your body isn't going to be able to make them from the food that you're eating as well as when you were younger. That's kind of why.
And to the false prophet, I wish cigarettes were healthy too. Trust me, I'd be smoking on the air. So.
Anyway, thank you for your opinion, and you know, I listen to you guys, and if there's something that you say that I shouldn't do, I always take it to heart. I may not necessarily follow, but I'll always take it to heart because it comes from an honest place. Because this is what this place is. It's a place of truth. And I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thanks, man. I would tell you, I'll take this advice. Don't type when Joe is on a rant.
I wasn't typing.
We could all hear you. All right, dude. Thanks for the call.
We all know it was you, Spencer.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Morty.
See you.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
This is Jay International. I'm in California.
Jay International from California.
Hey.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay. So I wrote a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about, but since you mentioned LSD, I want to tell you an LSD story.
Yeah. I'd like to hear one.
Those who know me, I have a brain that is not like other people's brains, so I can't guarantee other people will have the same experience I had. But I was when I was young, there were some people that had a sheet of acid and they were cutting the acid with scissors. And they took all the acid, and then I was like, all right, I'll lick the scissors. And so I licked the scissors.
It's a bad move, dude.
And I was like, I don't know. And then I had this like super duper mega LSD experience. And one of the things that happened to me, I remember, and I was losing my hair at the time, as I was walking and I saw my shadow, and all of a sudden my shadow had this like afro. I was like, I grew my hair back. LSD rose hair back. And then the shadow split into 5. And there was 5. And I was like, I'm a member of the Jackson 5. And I was like dancing and singing. And I kind of was like, dude, what are you doing? And he like pulled me back in. But the moral of the story is LSD does not grow hair. It might have other benefits.
So remember, kids.
Yeah. That is fucking great, man.
It has some good times, but yeah. Anyway, so onto the things there's like this camp of like, just shave it off, man. And then there's the people who do everything to get their hair back.
Just shave it, bro.
I have a lot of, I have a lot of respect for those people, but I'm definitely in the camp of, I want my hair back. But sometimes I just feel like my head is like allergic to hair. And it's more than just hair loss. It's like I saw this cartoon once, and there was like this roach poison, and these roaches were like drinking the poison and getting bigger and stronger. And I feel like that's like the bald genes. Like I transplant hair, I take finasteride, and so I really sympathize with the just shave it off. But anyway,
well, I appreciate the just shave it off. These guys win. I am not a fan of the just shave it off crowd who is essentially judging openly those who want to try to save their hair or those who maybe go the transplant route. I think everybody has to do what's best for them. If you're the just shave it off guys and you can deal with it, you fucking win. You know what? Try to help these other guys out. Don't openly shame them for trying to do something that they feel they need to do to survive this fucking crazy life.
Don't be a douche.
My dad was in that camp. Yeah, sometimes I like studying hair transplants and paying money and taking drugs and side effects, and I'm like, what am I doing? But I don't know what it is. I just keep going. But another topic I want to talk about. So you guys, I hear like every couple of weeks about finasteride and this side effect and titrate the dose, go up or down. But I think there is another strategy that's worked for me. So for a while, I couldn't take finasteride. I had the side effect of erectile dysfunction. And I was like, man, if I could just overcome that. And in software, I worked in software, there's something called a minimal viable product. And I was like, look, I just want a minimal viable boner. That's all I'm asking for. So I was like, what can I do to get to this? And so
MVB.
I started taking MVB, man.
Get a new girlfriend. Sorry.
I started, well, I don't know how my wife feels about that. But anyway, so I've been taking oral minoxidil for a while, and I noticed that has the opposite effect of finasteride. And I've written this on YouTube and other things, but that's something I'm not necessarily suggesting YouTube, but something synergistic. Maybe that's like another strategy, because for me personally, taking oral minoxidil counteracts that, and I have been able to.
That's actually really interesting to hear.
Yeah, so that's just something. I mean, I don't know if people have that exact effect. Another thing I wonder too, though, because I'm in America, but I'm still taking a Thai version of finasteride, so for all I know, I'm getting some placebo effect. But I really think there's something to that, and you could possibly synergistically overcome it.
I'm actually going to look into that, because that is actually interesting, and I read some stuff about that. I'm going to speak to a couple of docs about that. I mean, my fear is people are going to hear the show. I'm going to speak to a couple of docs, and all of a sudden, it's going to be like 1285M to reverse finasteride side effects or some shit, So we definitely have to be careful about that. But I think that if there is an option for those who may be suffering these adverse side effects to easily remedy it while they're promoting more hair growth, that's something to look for, to talk to your doctor about.
Mm-hmm.
What made me notice it.
I just want to know why you moved back to California.
So I was in Thailand. I love Thailand. I love Thai people. I love Thai food. But unfortunately, they're having a vaccine problem, rolling out the vaccine. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I know it's a sensitive topic. But definitely, I was not going to get the vaccine anytime soon. So that is the number one reason I came back. And plus, I just like to come back sometimes too. But yeah, so I've had my first Pfizer.
So it's not permanent. It's just a long visit.
Yeah. I live an itinerant lifestyle.
Well, depending on how you react to the vaccine, it may be permanent.
It may.
Yeah, somebody on my YouTube channel said you're going to be, congratulations, you're going to be dead soon. And I said, well, at least I'll
Wouldn't it be fucking great if you find out this fucking vaccine grows your hair
back? At least I'll look good in my coffee.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
That would be.
The first way I noticed, so I was taking this oral minoxidil, and I think you guys talk about this kind of shit all the time, but I had not had morning wood for a while. And then I was taking this minoxidil, and that came back full force, among other things. And then I was like, well, why not try the finasteride that I haven't been able to take? And then, sure enough, I was able to take it. That's how I personally.
Wow. And how old are you?
Okay.
I'm 46. I'm 46.
Okay.
Yeah. So another.
It kind of makes sense because of the nature of minoxidil being a vasodilator.
Yeah. It's going to give you a hard on, man.
Yeah. So it vasodilated the right areas.
Yeah, and it whatever. And I tried finasteride multiple times, and really quickly I would have that. That was my only side effect, but I just always would have that. And I'm thankful now I'm taking it, and I think I'm seeing benefits.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is, as you know, I've had basically every kind of hair on almost every kind. I don't want people getting weird ideas, but I've had almost every kind of hair put on my head, and I just want to kind of warn people. Like, I mean, it's great, but I'd say, like a little analogy here, like head donor hair, that's like 100% pure cotton. Then you get into chest hair, and you're kind of getting a little polyester. And then you have like beard hair, and it's like you've got this microfiber polyester mix. So, like, speaking of like kind of Jackson 5 and stuff, like I have some weird stuff going on my head right now. It's definitely getting more covered, but proceed with caution.
Well, I would say that we're seeing a lot. It's funny. I saw a video the other day that was sent to me by some UK guy, YouTuber guy, talking about body hair transplants in general, and just all the different aspects of hair transplant surgery. And, people read this shit and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to talk about body hair transplants as though it is really, truly a viable option. Like, okay, we don't have enough supply to meet our demand, so people can use body hair as well. honestly, guys, you guys have to reserve that shit as a last resort. You guys have to use that if you are, possibly repair patients. I'm not a fan of guys who just go in, take as much as they can from the scalp, and then say, let's throw some body hair in there and, charge a patient $150,000 for a hair transplant and hope for the best. Not a fan of that.
Because for me personally, I have all head hair in the front, so I can kind of create this illusion, but there is no doubt, if you look from the vertex, it's like these different, I don't know, it's definitely different. So yeah, my personal feeling, always use the head hair first. By all means, I mean.
Ass hair last, head hair first.
Ass hair last. I have not gone there yet. But,
well, look,
yeah,
I got a question. So you've had a lot of body hair transplanted. You're taking finasteride. What does your current doctor think about your regimen? Due to and for people that aren't aware of this, a lot of people report that finasteride will reduce body hair growth. So if it's been like I know some doctors,
look at my hands,
for instance, that will
I used
recommend
to have hands like a gorilla.
that they don't take finasteride if they've had a body hair hair transplant.
So I mentioned earlier just this like futility of everything, like, one thing makes hair and the other thing loses hair. So I wasn't reluctant to take finasteride because I've had so much body hair. But I just saw enough videos where people were like growing these big thick beards on finasteride. And at this point, most of my body hair is beard hair. I do have chest and abdomen hair also. So I just figured it's worth it. It's worth the gamble.
What a fucking, if someone were just to find this show, what a fucking weird show this is. It's like.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm like past the point where I get embarrassed by stuff because it's just so ridiculous, so absurd.
Oh,
but,
dude, my entire career has been absurd. I get it.
But yeah, just kind of my own little petri dish. Like looking at my body hair, it does seem to be growing slower, but it is definitely clearly growing. Something good is happening on my head. It's looking good. It's not where I want it to be yet, but I don't know. I'm just throwing the kitchen sink at it, and it seems to be working.
Dude, you're doing what you need to do for yourself, and it's working for you. And you're actually, obviously, far beyond the point of just shave it, bro. So, so just embrace it, bro. You are where you are. You're 46 years old, you said? I mean, you sound like you're a pretty together guy.
Yeah, I think, by all means, if I'm going to give a little advice, like definitely try to get it back, but don't get too upset or too serious about it because it's a battle you may or may not win or win the way you want to.
It's a fucked up battle, period.
Yep.
And people don't.
All right, guys.
Young guys don't understand that. All right, man. Listen. Good luck.
Good hearing from you.
Let us know if the vaccine grows any hair back.
It'll be hard for me to know, but I will let you know.
You never know. All right, man. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Bye.
I like the LSD story. You want to call it a night show? We almost started on time.
Oh, we got another caller?
We just did. All right. We'll take one more call if someone wants to call back. Phone line just dropped. 888-659-3727. If not, we are going to call it a night. While you are in the chat room, if you're watching on Joe's page, click the like button or whatever that's called. The thumbs up.
Yeah.
Give us
that would be the like button.
Your approval for the free show that we do every week for you guys. Please like us for the free information that we give you for free every week. Please validate.
You don't have to say please.
Our work.
They owe us.
That's what I'm saying. I'm being sarcastic, motherfuckers. Jesus Christ, you can't like the show? And follow me
I think people are purposely waiting. They're purposely waiting to the end of the show so they could just see you lose your shit.
It's unbelievable. And like me on Instagram. What's so hard about that? What's so hard about that?
Follow you on Instagram.
I'm sorry, follow me.
At Spencer Kobren.
Yeah, at Spencer Kobren. And follow Joe.
You don't have to like him, just follow him.
The stuff that I see out there that's being pimped out on social media is ridiculous. It is so sad, man. And you got all these guys who are out there on YouTube bopping around in fucking laser helmets. Come on, people.
Jesus Christ. I actually addressed that in my next video.
We could help.
I'll just say that. Let me say that this is the hypocrisy. There's a laser helmet company out there. I just discovered this yesterday doing some of my edits where I'm pulling in some info.
Yeah.
There's a laser helmet company that also happens to sell a bunch of other shit now that says 100% money back guarantee and something about, we're not one of these companies that says money back guarantee, but you got to, spend whatever to get it back to us. But then when you actually click on the guarantee and read the fine print, it says you get the full refund price minus the shipping.
Right.
Like they're blatantly lying to you on their homepage in their small print.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
Look, if there's a hair loss,
and you guys are like enabling these motherfuckers.
Any hair loss product that gives you a money back guarantee, you don't buy it. That's how I look at it. There is no legitimate product on the market that can guarantee that it's going to work for your hair loss. That's it. I understand the concept. I understand, what do I got to lose? You know what? If they're offering you a money back guarantee, they are making money no matter what. And that's okay. But don't be fucking fools. I saw a commercial on the news the other day. The guy who invented one of these nutraceutical products basically said that he invented, that he believes that, the cause of his hair loss was all stress related. And he's so, he feels so fulfilled that he's been able to, bring this product to the masses or whatever it is. And I'm thinking, holy shit, man. It never ends. And these guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
Never ends. Never fucking ends. So many people ask us about that product. I'm just like, you know what? Buy it. What? I got nothing to say about it. Buy the fucking product. I'll see you in a year. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
And these guys are crushing.
And you got to turn down your radio, dude. I mean your computer.
Yeah. Hey, this is Rishab here. I'm calling from San Francisco.
Hey, how is...
Hello.
I can't even imagine living in San Francisco now. How is that?
Yeah, it's great. Things have started to open up, which is great. Weather is getting better. It's always good here. So, yeah, it's really good here.
Good.
How about you guys? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I mean, besides the insane homeless population and, the fact that, our local government, in my view, is pretty fucked up, everything's good here in Los Angeles County.
Nice.
So what's up?
Cool. So I have a question on. So I watched the episode, I think, couple of weeks back on generic versus brand Propecia. So I was taking this generic Finasteride for last 2 months, and it is costing me around $6 from Save the Pharmacy. Now I want to switch to the brand Propecia, but it's like fucking expensive. It's like $115 a month.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand, are there any cheap options? So I am from India, so if it's possible, I can ask someone to buy it over there and, send me that. Or maybe if I travel to India, I can get some from there. So I just wanted to discuss, are there any cheap options that can bring the cost down?
Well, you're already on generic, so that's pretty cheap. Is it working for you?
I am not sure. It's been 2 months, and my hair loss is in very initial stages. No one can even tell. The only way to tell that I have hair loss is to buzz cut my hair. So it was very gradual. So I'm not sure if it's working or not. But I want to continue taking it to avoid further progression.
Well, here's the thing. You already started the medication. You're on a certain brand of generic. Do you know the brand of generic that you're on? Do you know the company who makes it?
I don't. It's not there on that bottle.
You could find it. You could ask your pharmacist. And what you want to do is, since you're taking that already, you want to see how you do. And you want to, if it works for you and you don't have any adverse side effects and you think you're getting positive results, you want to do your best to stay on that brand of generic.
Got it.
That's all. You don't have to get on name brand. if you're doing well on the generic. And yeah, there are, some old school brands of generic Indian manufactured generic brands that seem to work better than others. One I think is called Finpecia, which is out forever, even before. That was, I guess, in India. You didn't even have. There wasn't really an issue of worrying about patents. So Finpecia came out very quickly as soon as Propecia came out. And a lot of guys had good results with that. Teva makes a good brand of Finasteride, but you already started something. So my advice would be talk to your pharmacist, ask what the company is that's manufacturing it, and let them know that you want to, if possible, you want to stick with that brand.
Got it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'll do that.
Okay. All right, man. Anything else?
And by the way, guys, I just really wanted to thank you because I have been following your channel for years, even before I had hair loss. Because this is something that I am very interested in, how this hair transplant and that shit works. Because my father is bald, so I've been keeping up with your content for years now, and all of my friends used to tell me, dude, why the hell do you watch all these things when you don't have hair loss? I just used to tell them that it's something that really interests me. I'm very fascinated by the story of Joe, 10 hair transplants, and he has, Joe, you have fantastic hair. No one can tell that you have got any procedures. So, that is really great. And you guys are doing a great job. It took me 4 months to start the Finasteride, and a lot of it is due to your channel. I was reading some article on some of the websites about the side effects, which had me to wait for 4 months. I wish I could start it sooner, but still, I have not lost the ground. So I am very
well.
grateful.
That's a pretty short amount of time. Weighing your options there. People wait 5 years or 10 years. So I think you're in a good position, man. I'm happy for you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, good luck.
And,
let us know how
have a
you
good
do.
Weekend.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Sure, I will.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Don't
Have a
step
good
on
one.
any needles,
Bye-bye.
by the way. Take it easy. 888-659-3727. I don't know how people can live in San Francisco at this point. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Last time I was there was 9 or 8 years ago. Loved it. Don't know if I want to go back right now. At
Caller,
least
you're
not right
on the
now.
air, by the way. Caller, how are you? What can we do for you?
Yes.
Yes.
Me?
Caller.
That's you, man.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Spencer. Hi, Joe.
Hi, who's this?
My name is Nick from New York City.
Hey, Nick, what's going on, man?
What's up, Nick?
I was on Finasteride for many years, and I got off of it. I had called back. Now I'm back on it, and I can see the pattern of diffusion, like the way I'm going to go bald. So I decided to get back on Finasteride.
Why'd you get off of it?
I was on it for a very long time, and I just wasn't sure if it was doing anything or not, or because I'd kind of taken it as a preventive hair loss.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, did you notice that you weren't losing your hair?
It was slightly diffusing, but it wasn't as aggressive as it got.
Right.
So now I decided to get back on it full time, 1 milligram a day.
And how are you doing?
It's been a couple months, so actually I feel my hair quality gets a bit silkier when I start again.
Oh, good.
So the hair,
Okay, good.
instead of chaffy. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure. So tell me, did you have any questions or concerns that you wanted to share, or you just wanted to tell us that you started Finasteride again?
Yeah, I'm starting Finasteride again. I'm going to probably be on it for at least a year or two. And then there's some other stuff that's in the works called Breezula. So topical anti-androgen.
Dude, come on, man.
Come
on. Listen to us. You're on a drug that we know has a long-standing track record to work. So if you get on it and you're on it for a year and it works for you, the last thing you want to do, and talk to your doctor about this, I'm not giving you medical advice, is to stop it again. You saw what happened when you stopped it. So you got to make a commitment on, in my view, if you want to keep your hair and you're comfortable taking the drug, which you seem to be, you will, no matter what you put on your head, in my view, you'll at least go through a significant shed if you stop again. So just keep that in mind before you make any rash
So
decisions.
when you go through a shed, the hair comes back anyway if you stay the course, or?
It depends if you're on medication or not.
If you stay on the medication and you go through a shed and you just, like...
Well, it can. It depends. It depends. Now, what's your question? You mean if you switch medications, if you stay on the same medication?
No, like if you go through a shed while you're back on the drug, or...
Oh, well, the theory is, or the thought processes are based on, everything that we know is most people who go through any type of shedding phase when they start a drug or get back on a medication will recover from that. But that's not always 100%. But that's usually the case.
Okay. So, moving along from medication here and on to hair transplanting itself.
Okay.
So, I'm currently a patient of Dr. Bernstein's.
Okay.
He uses the robot.
Yeah.
I was wondering the WAW technique versus the robot. If you wear your hair shorter,
you mean using the WAH handheld motorized punch?
Yes.
If there's someone who's able to utilize that well, in my view, that would be, depending on the size of the punch, that would be the way to go.
Okay.
I think that the robot has come a long way. To give full disclosure, I was a consultant for the company for 2 years, Restoration Robotics, before it was acquired, and they made a lot of significant improvements and changes. I know Dr. Bernstein is heavily involved in making some of that stuff happen. But I still think that if you have a choice, now I will say this, in the right hands, the robot can do what it does best. However, if the same person is able to use a handheld device, who would be controlling that robot, I believe, if it's a doctor, I believe that if it were me, I would rather have someone who had the skill set to use the WAH system. Would you agree, Joe?
I mostly agree. I just feel that when you're doing your evaluation of a clinic,
I know what you're going to say. Don't evaluate the WAH or the robot. Evaluate the results of the people.
Well, it depends. Like you need to. It goes deeper than just that. I mean, you need to. First off, like I said, you need to find a clinic that is obviously good at what they're doing because they're cranking out really nice results on a consistent basis. But the question becomes, are they cranking out results on patients that resemble your case? So if you're a Norwood 6 and you've lost a lot of hair, are you going to be interested in a clinic that seems to be putting out cases of hairlines, but not much else? Like, hairlines can be beautiful, but are you looking at that and saying to yourself, God, that's a great looking hairline. I think I'd like to go to this clinic. And they're not showing any cases that are like Norwood 6 that have any sort of reconstruction. It's just mild hair loss cases, pack in 3,000 grafts in the hairline and call it a day, and doing a great fucking job at it. If that's what you're looking at, then you need to maybe consider another clinic, or at least if you consult with them, ask them, well, your website looks great, but do you have cases that resemble my own that I can look at and say, okay, that's something that I've got a similar starting point as this guy, and I like where he wound up after 2 or 3 surgeries. Then you can start looking at the devices that they're using, the tools. But if they're doing a good job with it, the tool isn't nearly as important. So if you find a doctor that's doing a great job with the robot, ideally, you want them to be able to utilize other tools in case that robot doesn't deliver on your case, because no single tool is ideal for every case. No single tool is ideal for every patient.
I concur, and that was actually extremely diplomatic as well. But you're right, Joe.
Thank you. So if you go into a clinic and they say, yeah, we're going to perform your procedure using the robot, and you're down with that, what happens if your case isn't conducive to the skill set or the characteristics of that tool, in this case being the robot? Well, the doctor needs to be able to pick up a different system, like a smart graph system or the WAS system or a CIT system, and there are a lot of systems out there. And he needs to be able to perform your procedure to the expectations that you had coming in expecting the robot to do the surgery. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. But let's move along. Dr. Bernstein is also a bit conservative on the hairline. I see like Dr. Keene and Dr. Nussbaum in Florida is a bit more aggressive. Is that a fair assessment, or?
Dr. Bernstein would categorize it as him being appropriate. And I think that Dr. Bernstein has done a great job. His associate, she does a great work as well. But you have to go with, you're talking about all really good clinics. So you have to go with what you're going to be most comfortable with. Just because someone thinks something's appropriate, if it's not appropriate for you and you think you would want a little bit more density and you're going to physicians who have the track record, have the caseload, are able to show you patients that are similar to you, like Joe said, with your hair characteristics and skin characteristics, and they could produce something that's a little denser that you want, there's nothing wrong with that. These are all good doctors.
It's more like a lower hairline, just a tad lower.
Well, I have to tell you, if you're talking about Dr. Nussbaum, I mean, he would be considered relatively conservative too, and appropriate as well. So if that's the direction you want to go. And you talking about Bernie or Aaron?
Aaron.
Aaron Nussbaum.
Sharon
I mean, he's a caring doctor, that kid. He's really good at what he does.
Really is.
Really good at what he does. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about all good physicians who have been doing this for a long time. Even though Aaron is young, he's been involved in hair transplants since he was a kid because of his dad, Bernie. So he's been around it constantly in the OR. So whoever you choose, essentially out of those three, you're making a good decision based on their track record. Now you just have to make the decision on what's best for you.
Okay, and Dr. Keene in Arizona, traveling and doing this, how does that get complicated, or?
Complicated? You're going to be traveling to Florida, possibly. It's all the same shit. Just make sure that you have a great space to stay, that you're comfortable, that you stick around for a while in case there's any potential post-operative complications. Make sure you can go in there for your second day visit. Those are all important things. I would never just fly in and fly out.
So you possibly say stay a week at least?
Well, you could if you have time. There's nothing wrong with staying a week. I mean, Joe, you dealt with patients flying in all the time. What would you suggest?
Oh, yeah. I would suggest sticking around for a few days at least after your surgery, because while it's generally okay for you to leave 1 or 2, well, I'd say 2 days after surgery, that's a minimum. Like I would stick around. Well, if I was an average patient, I would stick around for maybe 5 days, because you're basically out of the woods after 5 days. Like there's really not much that can go wrong with your recovery after 5 days. The first 5 days, if you bump your head the wrong way and you're nearby and you've knocked some grafts out, then you can just go back into the clinic and they can reinsert them. If you are, if you're out of town, like you've already left, and you bump your head in the first 5 days, and those grafts are knocked out, and maybe 4 or 5 grafts, they're gone. Like they're not coming back.
Or if you
And
find
may have
them,
little gaps
you can
in
go
there.
on. You
It's-
can go on YouTube and you can get some forceps and you can figure out how to do it yourself. I'm sure there's people who've done that.
But by the time you do, they're dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
I mean, I like the idea of Dr. Bernstein because he's local here. I could just hop on the train literally and
Good.
get to him. And
Well, yeah, and there's something to be said about that. Like I've never been one to say, sticking local is always the best decision, because sometimes it's not. But there is an added benefit to having, a high quality, skilled, experienced, talented doctor just down the street, or like you said, a train ride away. I like Dr. Bernstein. I think that he and Dr. Shaver, who works Schaefer, who works for him. I think that they're. That's why I said the first time.
And I agreed with you.
I think they're safe. They're safe choices. I think. What's that?
the younger lady doctor that works with him.
Yes. Yeah,
Dr.
I
Shaver.
think they're safe choices. So if you choose that route, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just a matter of your taste versus what they can deliver for you and meeting your expectations.
Okay.
All right, man. Good luck.
All right, so I'm going to stay on the Finasteride for now, and then when I just want to make sure when I'm ready to do this, I want to rush into it, and yeah.
Well, you're already a patient of Dr. Bernstein, you said, so I mean, you could ask him these questions as well, and I'm sure he'll give you the same advice. I mean, you're sticking on it, you're getting back on it. I wouldn't plan, as long as you're doing well, on stopping using it if you're going to get a hair transplant. That's just my opinion as a layman. That's not medical advice.
So just because I got the hair transplant doesn't mean I should get off Finasteride either.
No way, dude. Hair transplant is just moving hair from one place to another. You want to maintain everything that you have, including your donor.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right.
Okay, my libido is a bit down from the fin, but not nothing I can't live with. So.
Well, that's something you have to think about, but you should definitely talk to Dr. Bernstein about it. Let him know exactly what you're doing. If you decide to have surgery, I'm sure he would suggest that you stay on the medication if you're not having any serious adverse side effects. All right, man?
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
All right.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Have
the
a good
call.
weekend.
Bye-bye. You too.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye.
I got to turn off the phones. I got to go.
It's time.
It's time. Whew. Okay, Joe, give out the websites.
We do have some websites, people.
We do.
You should go visit them.
And that's it.
First up, International Alliance of Hair Restoration. Yeah, we got some websites. Good night. No. The IAHRS.org, the original authority on all things hair restoration. Interesting website. I always thought it was great to be a part of that website when I worked for clinics that were members of IAHRS, and there's a reason. It's a safe place to start. And just really can't say enough good things about it as far as the level of professionalism and ability of the doctors that are members of the IAHRS. It's a great baseline place to start your research. I use it as a baseline for membership on my own website, hairtransplantmentor.com. And can't say enough good things about it.
I want to say one thing
loss.
that I think is important, Joe. I want to add to that first of all, the physicians who are part and who are members and accepted into the IHRS believe in our philosophy that surgery is a last resort, and they also support truth in advertising, and they support educating consumers. If there's a doctor out there who's considering or not considering being a part of what we do because they're either too busy or they don't need the leads, that's not what the IHRS is all about, period. Doctors who are with us, who have been with us for many, many years, understand the value of putting out this information. And what guys like Joe and I do, and what the IHRS and the American Hair Loss Association has been doing for 20 years. And that is providing you guys with the information that you need to make truly informed decisions. How to say that?
Yeah, well said. Speaking of American Hair Loss Association, I think it's the most unique resource in the industry simply because it is so incredibly well referenced and often referenced by mass media. And we're talking about BBC, Wall Street Journal, ABC, Vanity Fair, like every major publication on the planet. If there's anything or everything about hair loss in any story that they're doing, they always reference AmericanHairLoss.org. It is an amazing, amazing resource. Lots of great information that you just can't find anywhere else. It's really a powerful website, and it is old. It hasn't been updated since the Civil War.
True.
I've always wanted to say that. But the information is undeniable, and some of it's a little outdated, but it's solid, and I recommend that people check that out. Let's see, my own website, hairtransplantmentor.com. It is in the 6th iteration of its existence since it was first started out of being a free Yahoo website because I had a Yahoo email address at one point, and it was built on 10 megabytes of free web space. I remember when I first started sharing the link on Bald Truth Talk, I wouldn't get access to the website after like 5 minutes because it would say traffic limit exceeded or something. It would be offline for like 3 hours because people were checking it out. So I eventually had to build an actual proper website and pay for hosting and bandwidth. So that was the way that started. But hairtransplantmentor.com, it's where I got started. It's got my entire story from beginning to today, if I post this episode, and the most comprehensive terms and definitions, glossary, if you will, of hair loss and hair restoration terms and words and descriptions. So check it out, hairtransplantmentor.com. And of course, if you're watching on any other resource other than my YouTube channel, you can check out my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor, where I've got hair transplant class, episode 24, coming out maybe this weekend, probably this weekend, as well as older episodes of Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth with me, Joe Tillman, and of course, clinics I work with, where I'm talking about my review of their respective clinics, and I'm showing the details, the nitty-gritty details, and giving insight that you simply won't get anywhere else, simply because I know what they're telling me when they're explaining things to me. And yeah, what else is there? Is that it? Did I cover it?
I didn't even listen, but I could tell you that almost everybody else out there is full of shit. As long as you guys know that, then you're good. And that's just the reality of it. See a doctor out there putting out some sort of shit on YouTube, some of it could be good. Most of it's full of shit, in my view. That's just the way that it is.
Oh, also, I'll do it this time. apetogentleman.com for episodes of the UK show, the UK variation of
episode 16 is online today.
Episode 16, yo.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, with Spencer Kobren and Spencer Stevenson. Spencer
Stevenson.
Spencer Specs Stevenson. Jesus, it's difficult. Episode 16, live today. I need to check it out.
Yeah, it was a good show.
How's
And
that?
we had this poor woman who called in. That'll be put up for another broadcast because we don't have enough time. But I mean, she, UK girl, young, attractive girl. I may have spoken about her last week, and she was just sold the bill of goods to go to Turkey for a cheap hair transplant. She didn't even need the goddamn thing. Then they're like, you know what? We're going to do your eyebrows too. Afrocentric hair. Put in her eyebrows.
Yeah.
Unfucking believable.
They were having a slow day that day.
Yeah. Well, I was contacted.
We only got.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
Well, we
only got 13 patients in the clinic today, so let's do the eyebrows.
Jesus. Yeah, that's exactly it. But here's the thing: we only got 27 patients this morning. We're going to have time for an eyebrow transplant. But, I mean, you hear this woman's story that, you know, she just felt something was wrong. She was sitting there and she just kept asking the technicians if they were doctors. And they're like, yeah, doctor, yeah, doctor. I mean, the way that she expressed it, I'm just like, God, I mean, it was terrifying to hear this story.
Wow.
Terrifying. And it's happening every day. Thousands of people, they're having their lives fucking destroyed, man. And you know what you're seeing on social media? You're seeing guys with their newly constructed hairlines that you can't see shit with because it's just a bunch of graphs placed in a straight line or however it's, whatever grid they use. And they're pointing to their heads like, look what I got done.
Douchebags, I swear to God. And the doctor that's the face of the company, the clinic, they're all doing this bullshit.
Yeah.
Or this one.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you something. Guys, it's really
Seriously?
important. Guys, it's really important. If you are considering hair transplant surgery, if you are looking at images on your feeds that are just post-operative images, keep scrolling. You want to be able to see a person speaking and moving who is 12 months out of surgery before you even considering that clinic. When I see these people putting out eyebrows, and it's like directly post-operative, where it's essentially just grafts placed with all the redness from the surgery, and it looks like, oh wow, before she didn't have eyebrows, now it looks like she's going to have eyebrows, and people were booking an appointment based on that bullshit. Anyway, I need my medication.
By the way, I want to show something to the crowd. I'm just going to do this on my phone. You can see that hairline. What does it look like?
Let me see.
Actually, I want your opinion. Does that look like a surgical hairline?
I can barely see it, honestly. Yes, it does. But it's still pretty good. I don't know. I can't really see. My eyes aren't that great.
How about this one? It's backed up a little bit.
It actually, to me, looks like a piece on your phone. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. So this is on the side of a building that I was walking past. It was a eyeglass place. Here's the full picture. You're going to shit.
Oh, that is fucking awesome, man. That is fucking awesome. Yeah.
David Beckham.
But Beckham, I mean, he's been going for a long time, allegedly.
Effing Beckham. And it's an ad.
He's been losing it for a long time.
For his eyewear.
And here's the reality. You have no idea if that hair was drawn in.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. It could be drawn in, but I just thought that was hilarious. Because it's like it stood out to me. Like I was walking past and I was like, oh, Beckham. I was like, the hell? What? I need to get pictures of this.
What's on his head?
So there you go.
All right. Well, I'll never get that 3 minutes back. Anyway. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Love doing the show with you guys. And I say with you guys because it's your calls that make the show. I mean, Joe just sits there looking pretty, but it's your calls that make the program. So until next time, be strong. That's right. Be strong. God bless. And thank you so much for listening. Good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at